All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, the 2021 Southeastern Conference Championship game is in the books. And for the third time in the last 4 years and 10th time overall, the Alabama Crimson Tide are champions. Now, the Tide did what most people said could not be done, and that was to score a litany of points on the Georgia Bulldogs as Alabama won this afternoon going away by the score of 41-24. Now, coming into this game, Georgia was giving up less than a touchdown a game as they had the number one defense in the nation, but they had not been tested, which is what I talked about leading up to this contest. And after a feeling out process in the first quarter, Alabama's offense really got it going. The heavily criticized Alabama offensive line neutralized the massive Georgia defensive line and their linebacking core in order to give quarterback Bryce Young the chance to have a relatively clean pass pocket. Today, Young was 26 of 44 passing for 421 yards with 3 touchdown passes as well as a touchdown run. This Georgia defense has not had to deal with a core of receivers like they did today with Alabama, as the Crimson Tide's speed was simply too much for them. Jamison Williams, 7 big catches for a buck 84 and 2 TDs. Um, then we saw John Mechie, 6 grabs for 97 yards and a touchdown before he left with an injury. And this game really changed because Georgia came out strong. They were up 10-0 midway through the second quarter. And then Alabama got going. And they got going when Young connected with Williams on a 67-yard touchdown pass. And after that, it was game on. Alabama scored just before the first half ended to make it 24-17. And then they came right out of the dressing room to start the third quarter. And we saw Young hook up with Williams on a 55-yard bomb. And that was important because Williams beat double coverage on that when he got past the corner as well as the safety on that. And at that point, it was game on. And then by the Tide jumping ahead of the Dogs like that, it meant that Georgia quarterback Stetson Bennett was going to have to beat this team with his arm. And that took away Georgia's prize rushing attack. And when Bennett throwing wanted Kirby Smart wanting him to throw, he threw a pair of interceptions, including a pick six, the second one, the Julian Battle, to put this game out of reach. As at that point, Alabama was up by the score of 38-17. Credit to Saban and this coaching staff, and as well as Alabama's offensive line, as they neutralized defensive tackle Jordan Davis and the rest of his front seven. Georgia, and I'm going to keep harping on this, they had not been tested like this all season long. They beat Clemson, a ranked Clemson team in the top 10 to begin the season, but Clemson has had their struggles on offense all season long. Um, they beat Florida. Florida underachieved this year. They did beat an undefeated at the time Arkansas team, and Arkansas does have a solid offense. But the thing is, Arkansas is not Alabama, and the Tide can come at you with so many quality players at the skill positions, so many skilled players overall on this team. The speed on the outside of the wide receiver position, the speed in that secondary, the speed at the linebackers. Alabama simply comes at you in waves. But this is not the end all be all for Georgia because it's a situation now, and I've been saying it for like the last month, that if Georgia did lose in this game, but they came into this contest with an unblemished mark like they did, I don't see them dropping out of the top 4 seeds for the college football playoff. Georgia is still going to be a player. It's just going to be a matter of where their seeding is going to be. And I think a lot of that is going to be predicated on the outcome of the Big Ten championship tonight. As we speak, Michigan is up 14-3 on Iowa. And of course, if this score holds up, Michigan will be in the playoff. But I think if Michigan somehow loses this contest, I don't see Georgia dropping past number 2. Right now, I do see a scenario where Alabama and Georgia will swap positions. Alabama, I think they're going to be the number 1 seed in the playoff. They're probably it's going to be interesting to see whether they get Miami or Arlington in the Cotton Bowl, for their semifinal matchup. We'll have to wait and see how that works out, but nonetheless, they're definitely in. Um, the thing is this: if you're Alabama, this is what you go to school there for. These are the big games, and Nick Saban and his crew once again did it. And for Georgia and Kirby Smart, he has the talent on the defensive side of the ball. He has the running backs. But I think for Kirby Smart and this Georgia program to go to the next level, he's going to have to adjust and adapt, kind of like what we saw Nick Saban do. It's time for Georgia to get more speed at the wide receiver position. It's time for Georgia to get more quality players at the quarterback position in order to take this team and this program to the next level. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out going forward. Georgia, you look at them, and the last few times that they've played Alabama under Kirby Smart, they've been right there. But the bottom line is today, I think more than anything, it was just Alabama's team speed from their linebackers and their secondary. And then on the flip side of the ball, their wide receivers. And again, I cannot harp on it enough. This Alabama offense, this Alabama coaching staff, Nick Saban, and of course OC Bill O'Brien did a good job of neutralizing this Georgia front. Obviously, Alabama did not have success running the football today against Georgia, but what they did, they were able to move the pocket at times for Bryce Young. They really hadn't asked Bryce Young to scramble all season long. He did today. And on top of that, they used short, quick passes. And then on top of that, Alabama did not substitute a lot, which meant that guys like Jordan Davis up front for Georgia had to stay on the field. And you know what? This Georgia defense, which had been accustomed to, subbing out their guys in the second half of games for the most part this season because they were blowouts, their stamina got tested in this one. And you could see at times Georgia was a little fatigued on the defensive side of the ball. So, with that said, there's a possibility that these two teams could meet in the national championship game. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, a lot of things would have to break. Will things change in a rematch? Unless Georgia can score some points, I'm not sure. But I will say that if they were to meet again in a rematch, the intensity from Georgia, especially on the defensive side of the ball, would change. It was basically Georgia came in and said, you know what, we're going to stop the run and we're going to dare Bryce Young to beat us. And not only did Bryce Young beat Georgia today, but he might have like sewn up the Heisman Trophy for this year as well. But nonetheless, these are two of the better teams in college football this year, two of the better programs overall. The bottom line is Alabama, they simply know how to get it done in December and January under Nick Saban. They did it once again, and the Tide are steamrolling, not just rolling, steamrolling into the college football playoff. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.